Rocker Pat here. Alright guys, another hot rocket day in the jungle. And man, it is a beautiful Texas day. Let's see what I got going on today. Oh, it is C3 day. Let's see what I got going on with this little 1978 C3 Corvette. Started this project out because we needed to take care of some loosey in the rear end where it was tracking all crazy and everything, and I found some bushings bad. But it's morphed into everything you can think of at that point, and we go right down the rabbit hole. So let's see what I got done. Yeah, it kind of took everybody apart, and everybody's out of the game at this point. Did a little cleaning up on the chassis. It's not a great job, but it's a little bit better than what it was when it got here, and all that. Got the oil out of the differential. It was low, of course. Refilled it with the fresh oil and refilled it with the limited slip lube that you need to have in this car. And like I said, got everybody cleaned up as best I can and painted. Now, let's see, I got a big pile of parts down here on the ground. And basically, here's your suspension laying on the floor. Not all of it, but the majority of it. What I've got done so far, my parts came in that I needed and the tools that I needed. So, let's take a look at the bushing here and how it goes together. The two bushings come from each side, one in this side and one in this side. And then there's this washer that goes on there. And the purpose of the tool that we need is because these two clamp this way, we need some way to squeeze this bushing together to get this flared out right here. And that's where this tool comes in. That's what we do with this. So basically, you clamp this around the bushing, and then you drive this pin into the center right there, and that stakes it everybody in the place, and that keeps it from falling out. So I got that done on both sides. This is the driver's side hub and control arm. Let's see what's going on with this one. The reason why I don't have the axle in this right now is because I came into a problem with the axle itself. And I'm waiting on the mailman to show up today. It's out on the delivery from the USPS, and so they'll be here with my axle today. And then I'll be able to press this in. It's all greased and everything. It's been set up with the right setup tools and everything, and I'm about to show you that in a second. But let me show you what the problem is with the axle and why I'm sitting here. But yeah, let's look at the axle. So what's going on with the axle is that, like all these kind of projects, they end up with something going on. So when I take it apart, somebody's already been here. Come on, focus. Right here. Focus on my finger. Thank you. Okay, so somebody's already been here and they beat the crap out of it, and you can see what they've done to the threads. But that's not, I could have probably fixed that. The problem I ran into is I tried to use the castle nut from the other axle, and it won't go on there. So I was cleaning up the castle nut, and wait for it. Look what somebody did. They went and cut that castle nut and split it like that so that they could screw this on there. See, this will screw on, no problem. I ain't got no problem screwing that on. The problem comes that being cut right there has severely taken the strength out of this nut. And I can't put 100 foot-pounds of torque on that nut right there with that son of a bitch being split right there and expect an axle to stay in the car. Now, okay, so I got an axle coming. That's going to solve that problem. Let's talk about how this all is set up here. So here's the original bearing. And you see I have a sleeve. And then we've got some spacers. Okay? So what the deal is that this bearing right here presses onto this part of the shaft. Yeah, I think that's right. Yes. Okay? It'll press on this side of the shaft. Okay? So the deal is that there's a certain amount of distance between here and here inside of the hub itself. So let's go take a look at that. So that once you stake in your races, you got a certain amount of distance between here and down here that you need to take account for. You can't just cram 100 foot-pounds of torque onto the axle and expect the bearings to last. So they use the shim deal so that it can only stack so deep, and that stops it. So what you have to do is you have to have this special tool, because that bearing presses onto the actual axle itself. It makes it difficult to set up. So they've come up with this little tool right here that allows you to basically slide it on and off without it being pressed on. And what the deal is that you're gonna want between basically a 1/2 thousandths to 4 thousandths clearance, and I've got about 2.5 thousandths clearance backlash on this bearing setup, and as you can see, it spins nice and free. Now it's gonna change how it spins once we put some grease in it, but that's a nice backlash. I ended up doing this with the factory shims, so I didn't need the shim kit after all, but you know, of course I order it because you never know what you're gonna need when you need it. And this is a cheapo setup from off of eBay, and I just got out my my calipers, and I measured every one of them that came in the kit, and guess what? Every freaking one of them is the exact same 2.83 millimeters. So not much of a shim kit if there's only one shim, and I'm never gonna need that many. So anyway, that's the deal there. Waiting on the axle to come in. I'll get that taken care of, and then I'll get this other put back together, and yeah, we'll come back after that. I've got the new U-joints into the half shafts so that they go in with new U-joints and we don't have any problem. I found one of them was tight, and then I looked at the U-joints and they were dry, so they're not greasable. Let's put some new ones in it while we got everything tore apart. And yeah, by the end of the weekend, I should have this car rocking and a rolling and a rolling and a rocking. It's going to get, over there's a 4-wheel brake job for it, including replacing 2 of the calipers that have not been replaced. In the box is going to be brand new hoses, so that the whole car gets brand new hoses. These are factory hoses in this car. And yeah, it's time for some new brake hoses and hardwares and stuff like that. And we'll get this thing rocking and a rolling and a rolling and a rocking sometime this weekend, I guess. I guess that's what I'm going to get it done. But right now, what I need to do is finish cleaning up that that axle and get my hand up into this brand new tub of grease and get them bearings greased and get it all put together so I can get rocking and a rolling. All right, guys, well, y'all keep rocking and a rolling and a rolling and a rocking, because I got a little bit more grinding it down to do on this one, and we're sipping it out the door. Talk to y'all next time.